because this is the people's house.
Tonight on Cougar News, we find out what's happening in the wake of the abrupt resignation of Congresswoman Katie Hill.
And we also take a look at how COC opened its doors and kitchens to heroes and victims of the Ticke Fire.
I lost my best friend Tell, Christina, Sean.
Finally, we get a glimpse of how a tragic shooting is still a fresh memory for several survivors. Cougar News starts now.
This is Cougar News.
Hello everyone and welcome to Cougar News. I'm Sydney Sweet.
And I'm Taylor Hilo. Here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom.
Just 13 days ago, the Ticke Fire roared through the Santa Clarita Valley. Today, residents in Newhall got a painful reminder that our area is never immune to flames. A small brush fire broke out just south of the Masters University, forcing officials to briefly evacuate the campus and nearby McGrath Elementary. It took over an hour for crews from LA City and LA County Fire to put out the 9-acre blaze. They battled it by ground and air. Firefighters even got a helping hand from workers at Masters who actually took a hose line to the hillside to protect the college.
Just protecting our campus. You know, we do whatever we can for the students, including situations like this where we want to look out for them and protect their campus. It's here for the students, so we want to protect this place for them.
2 teen boys were taken into custody after a truck theft in Canyon Country. The situation began after the boys crashed a stolen pickup truck near the 14th freeway. Sheriff's deputies responded to the intersection of Via Princesa and Jason Drive as the driver and the passenger fled on foot. Units lost sight of the pair near some railroad tracks, but within minutes the 2 boys were spotted a few miles away. Deputies detained them at gunpoint near Soledad Canyon Road and Ironstone Drive.
Tense moments unfolded in Newhall last night. 911 callers said they believed gunshots were fired. Sheriff's deputies responded to the 24900 block of Walnut Street just before 7 p.m. They quickly locked down the area around an apartment building. Responding units eventually took at least 1 man into custody. It remains unclear what his connection is to this situation. A woman was reunited with her dog after they were separated during the investigation. Deputies are still working to connect the dots on what exactly occurred.
With the 25th congressional seat now empty due to the resignation of former Representative Katie Hill, several prospects are throwing their hat in the ring. Reporter Cameron Martell takes a deep dive into the interesting circumstances leading up to the special election.
Congresswoman Katie Hill says even though she is stepping down, she is not done fighting.
With Katie Hill's resignation, she created major shockwaves in Congress. But the question lies within what the future holds for California's 25th district.
I wanted to show young people, queer people, working people, imperfect people, that they belong here, because this is the people's house.
Hill was determined to make strides by working with marginalized people.
And for the ASG, we have a limited time here, and so now a lot of that federal advocacy we want to do on behalf of College of the Cane students, that's going to have to be put on pause for this election.
I've hidden from the world because I'm terrified of facing the people that I let down.
Despite Hill not being able to fulfill her promises, new candidates are hoping to pick up where she left off.
The end of, obviously, our run against Katie Hill, and so now we're focusing on, the other opponents in the race.
In this coming election, the candidates must convince they are the best person for the job.
Voters care about is who are you, what do you stand for, and what do you believe in, and are you qualified for the job?
Yes, I'm stepping down. But I refuse to let this experience scare off other women who dare to take risks, who dare to step into this light, who dare to be powerful.
First-term California State Assemblywoman Christy Smith is throwing her hat in the ring. Here, it's difficult for people to
Christy Smith, who won alongside Hill, is now making moves for higher office.
So the fight goes on to create the change that every woman and girl in this country deserves.
As for former Representative Katie Hill, she might not be in office anymore, but she hopes what she stands for lives on. Republican candidate Michael Garcia believes a country that honors its Constitution, capitalism, and competition for God, country, and family are still held sacred. Karen Roseberry, the senior campaign advisor for Marc Cherry, believes those in position must be held accountable for exercising their abuse of power.
Thank you, and I yield the balance of my time for now, but not forever.
For Cougar News, I'm Cameron Martell.
Well, it should be interesting to see who actually wins that one.
There's actually been a lot of controversy in politics lately. Veronica, do you have more?
Yeah, thanks, guys. The cyclist who lost her job in 2017 for flipping off President Trump's motorcade now has a new job in local office. Julie Briskman of Loudoun County, Virginia, who ran as a Democrat, won a seat on the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors this past Tuesday. Briskman secured just above 52% of the votes, ousting the Republican incumbent. Briskman's victory is one of many for the Democratic Party in Virginia, who have managed to flip the state's House and Senate from Republican to Democratic control for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Briskman, who campaigned on updating the county's environmental plan and adding affordable housing, is quoted about the incident saying, "I just got angry. I lifted my arm and started flipping him off." She will be sworn in this January. More than 11,000 scientists from around the world have declared a climate emergency. Researchers from around the world on Tuesday issued a grim warning of untold suffering that will be caused by climate change. The latest report released was published in Bioscience, a peer-reviewed scientific journal. The scientists, who come from over 150 countries, said the climate crisis is closely linked to excessive consumption of the wealthy lifestyle. Scientists criticize policymakers for failing to take action and have listed key issues that include replacing fossil fuels, cutting the emissions of climate pollutants, eating less meat, and protecting ecosystems. Scientists say the changes shouldn't be seen as sacrifices, but as a way of transforming things that we have found stressful. California Senator Kamala Harris introduced a bill today that would lengthen the school day by 3 hours to better align parent schedules. Introduced as the Family Friendly Act, the proposed legislation would use 5-year grants of up to $5 million for local educational agencies to push the end of the average school day from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in 500 schools. The bill targets low-income and working families who can't afford to pay for childcare. The bill states that teachers would not have to work additional hours unless they choose to and will be compensated at their regular rates. Harris's Senate office stated the extra time can also go towards dance and theater programs, among other enrichment activities, but it leaves the scheduling of the day open to school administrators. And that's what's trending. I'm Veronica Secchi. For more, visit us on social media.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, the Ticke Fire raced through parts of Santa Clarita, forcing residents from their homes and leading students and staff here at COC to wonder if the Canyon Country campus might take a direct hit. As Elizabeth Medina tells us, the damage could have been worse, but that doesn't mean the fire didn't leave a mark.
On Thursday, residents experienced one of the most destructive fires of this season. The Ticke Fire burned more than 4,000 acres and caused about 50,000 residents to evacuate their homes. Fortunately, College of the Canyons was already empty some time before the flames reached the Canyon Country campus.
So we had a power outage just after 9 o'clock on Thursday here on the campus, and it was expected to last about an hour. We were notified later that it would in fact be lasting much longer than that. It was a preventative measure by Southern California Edison. So at that point we evacuated the campus, and so the campus was evacuated late Thursday morning. And then, of course, the brush fire started Thursday afternoon. It was a fast-moving, wind-driven fire, and it blew the fire down here to the campus.
The fire destroyed a total of 29 structures and damaged 44.
We did lose one building. That's the Early Childhood Education Center.
Although that building will remain closed off for an unknown period of time, there's still a plan.
The plan right now is that early childhood education will finish out the semester at the Valencia campus, and then we will take other space here and convert that over for use by the Early Childhood Education Center. And so we expect to have them back on campus here at Canyon Country for the spring semester. You know, if you look around and you see how close the fire came to the campus and the burnt hillsides all around it, we're very thankful for the condition that the campus is in.
Reporting to you for Cougar News, I'm Elizabeth Medina.
Blackouts have been occurring all over the Southland. Reporter Jesse Abarquez covers the planned blackouts that have plagued Santa Clarita.
Can you imagine not being able to toast your toast? What about not being able to keep things cold? Can you imagine life without electricity? Well, many Santa Clarita residents didn't have to imagine because they actually unwillingly lived without power. Santa Clarita, along with many cities throughout Southern California, was plagued with multiple wildfires in early October. This prompted Southern California Edison to perform scheduled power outages throughout the Southern California area while high wind advisories were in effect. Their mission was to prevent any more fires. Safety is first priority and convenience fell to an unfortunate second. Christina Kerrigan, a local resident, shares her experience with the outages and fires as a whole.
I actually had to leave my house 2 times because the power went out. The first time was a little overwhelming, was not prepared for it, did not see it coming. I have a 21-month-old daughter. I was worried that I wasn't gonna have any milk for her. All of the food went bad. I was scrambling, freaking out, not knowing where I was gonna go. I was able to call my mom and stay with her for a few days. And then the power actually didn't come on for a few days. And then the second time, it happened within a week of each other. And so I wasn't prepared for that one either.
Southern California Edison has not reported an exact date as to when these outages will end. But as of Friday, November 1st, 2019, their website stated that the outages will be ending soon, as winds are finally confirmed to be dying down.
It would be nice to know if we had a little bit more information, but you never really know with these things. So at least now they just say make sure you're packed and you're ready to go. So it is what it is, but it doesn't make life easy when you have a baby and when you're at your home and you're uprooted and you just don't really know where you're going.
With Cougar News, I'm Jesse Abarkis.
Families impacted by the Ticke Fire must start the process of recovery. The city of Santa Clarita and the county of Los Angeles set up a facility to aid those who may need it. Reporter Daniela Torres has more about the center that brought some relief to our community.
While the fires that devastated our community are over, the process of recovery has just begun for those affected by this disaster. The city of Santa Clarita, alongside the county of Los Angeles, opened the local assistance center to aid those in need.
This center is intended to be a one-stop shop for individuals, families, survivors of the Ticke Fire to come in and get information and resources to help them.
From sudden ash on your lawn to no lawn at all anymore, the center encouraged the community to come with any questions.
Oftentimes people think that this would only be valuable to them if their house was destroyed completely, and that's not the case. This center is available and helpful for anybody that was affected in any way by the Ticke Fire.
The pop-up center was more than just a gymnasium with information. It was a place for reassurance.
As they come in, we hear their stories, we get to know what it is that we can do to help them, and it is an emotional scene overall. They've obviously been through a lot and will be going through a lot for a long time.
Though November 4th was the last day for the center, they still have resources for those in need.
If you weren't able to come into the center to get the services in person, 211 is the county's information line, and it can be dialed from any phone, and the 211 operator will then be able to direct you in the appropriate direction to get the help or the resources or information that you need.
For Cougar News, I'm Daniela Torres.
Thousands were forced from their homes due to the Ticke Fire, but while some ran, others stood their ground. I spoke to one Canyon Country man who refused to leave things up to chance. It caused the biggest evacuation in Santa Clarita history, the Ticke Fire.
Evacuate the fire coming up!
Many took what they could from their homes and ran. Others stayed and fought the uphill battle against the fire.
It was everywhere, literally 360 degrees of my house of where fire was.
With flames surrounding his house and a mandatory evacuation in place, there was one question. Where was the help? He was soon informed by an officer that help wasn't coming.
He even notified us that we're not going to get any kind of fire support. This is it. This is Old Faithful right here.
That's when Matt decided to take matters into his own hands.
slowly started working up and then got to the point where we're all the way up there.
Matt considers himself one of the fortunate ones.
I mean, we are lucky that it stopped here, because if it does jump, and then we're down on this, and you know, that domino effect keeps rolling.
A domino effect that other neighborhoods know all too well. For Matt, it was just vegetation that burned, just like the stick. But for others, it was their entire home, their life.
You never think, you know, that it's going to happen, you know, in your backyard.
No one thinks it will, until it does. Looking back, he says he wouldn't change a thing.
At the end of the day, I just kind of felt better being here, especially with seeing all the neighbors doing the same thing and all on the same page. It was comforting.
Now, the Ticke Fire is at 100% containment, but the work it takes to clean the damage it left in its wake is just beginning. For Cougar News, this has been Taylor Hilo reporting. COC's Chancellor's Circle dinner was supposed to be like any other, but the Ticke Fire had other plans. Kai Turner tells us how a natural disaster led to an obvious shift in this event.
I'll stay with you, darling, now.
50s music, tie-dye, freshly cooked food. On the surface, College of the Canyon's Chancellor's Circle benefit dinner was just another event. Except it wasn't. Just 2 days earlier, smoke and ash billowing out over the Santa Clarita Valley as the fast-moving Ticke Fire exploded in the hills of Canyon Country late October. Spreading quickly from high winds, the blaze left next to no time for people to grab what they could carry and evacuate. With the assistance of the American Red Cross, the College of the Canyon's Valencia campus became one of several evacuation centers for the fire.
I was getting reports from our incident command team really early in the morning about how many people were on campus. 350 in the East P, 250 in the cafeteria.
Dr. Diane Van Hook, COC's chancellor, got to thinking.
We have this big dinner that we plan annually to recognize our donors, in particular our Chancellor's Circle members. And yet, as I was getting the news and then as I got to campus, I said, you know, this just doesn't feel right now.
So she made a decision.
We need to shift this, if we can, quickly, and open it up for any evacuees that happen to be in our gym, as well as our first responders and our Red Cross workers who do amazing work.
Shedding a ray of light during a time of emergency, College of the Canyons not only opened its doors to evacuees and emergency workers, but opened its kitchen too. For Cougar News, I'm Kai Turner.
Coming up next on Cougar News, we take a look at an assortment of local artists displaying their work at a recent gala.
And we see how the victims of the Borderline shooting are being remembered a year later. Stay tuned.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
This is Cougar News.
It's almost 1 year since the heart-wrenching shooting at Borderline Bar and Grill. Reporter Taruka Morishita speaks to the victims whose lives were forever changed that night.
It's been 1 year since 12 lives were cut short at a Thousand Oaks bar. A picture taken from that night captures the moment when life was bliss, less than 20 minutes before the bloodshed.
A whole bunch of us ended up gathering for a group picture behind the flag. Halfway through the song was when the shots started.
Dylan McKinney, formerly was Borderline security guard, recalls all of his close friends whose lives were cut short that night.
I had lost my best friend Tell, Christina, Sean, Justin, Michael, Blake, Jake, and Noel.
For others, their plea to escape still echoes in their voice.
And I'm like, Matt, run. And I kind of like snapped him back into reality, and he looked at me, he's like, what? I was like, run, go.
The clothing that some of the survivors wore during that tragic night hold a message that is forever ingrained in their memory.
The glass, I literally was just bent the right way and it traveled right through and notched my back. Entered here and went out here.
Survivors have come to realize that the devastation that occurred that night also comes with a message.
Finding the exception, even though it's been a year, finding the exception of what really happened that's the challenge. That's the key.
Looking at it as this happened and this will be the rest of our lives, it's kind of moving forward at some point with recognizing that it did happen, but continuing to live a good life for those who can't.
The phrase borderline strong will forever hold a special place in the hearts of those who have been impacted. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Taruko Morishita.
College of the Canyons Institute of Ethics, Laws, and Public Policy hosted a panel discussion on the Me2 movement. They discussed the environment and climate that the Me2 movement has caused. Professor Lisa Hooper hopes that talking about it will create a more comfortable space and culture on campus and in workplaces. Superintendent and Vice President Diane Fierro discussed the importance of reporting sexual assaults and misbehavior on encouraging students and faculty to come forward. Switching gears, there's a ton of good movies out.
Definitely. I think that Tyra can tell us a little bit about what to see. Thanks, guys. A dark fate indeed. Terminator ended up taking first place at the box office, grossing $29 million its opening week. The Joker took third place the week prior, but has now taken the #2 spot and is getting even closer to being the first rated R film to reach $1 billion, grossing $13 million this week alone. Maleficent took third place with $13 million as well, and Harriet nabbed fourth place from The Addams Family and Zombieland Double Tap with $11 million. The art of American realism came to COC when the creator and executive producer of the hit ABC series Desperate Housewives, Marc Cherry, held a masterclass directing theater students in the art of acting. Desperate Housewives is credited with transforming Cherry into a household name after the show snagged 7 Emmy Awards and 3 Golden Globe wins. Throughout the session, Cherry watched and critiqued students as they performed scenes on stage, offering his advice on how to improve their acting skills. However, Cherry didn't just instill acting knowledge into students. He talked about the ups and downs of the TV industry and spoke of his own experiences in the field. He reminded students not to be discouraged if they don't find work right away, sharing how it was only after 3 years of failing to snag an interview that he was able to get Desperate Housewives off the ground. A little jazz or opera can be good for the soul, and a local academy held a special event this past Monday that displayed its faculty's talents for all to see. Reporter Debbie Martinez has more.
Many gather around at the Trinity Classical Academy located in Santa Clarita New Hall for their first faculty recital. Instead of students showing off their talent and skills, the faculty got to show off on what they love doing the most.
Not only they didn't just agree, they were excited about it. And they don't get much opportunity to perform their craft, their teaching all the time. So to be able to actually do what their first love is, which is playing their instrument, that was important to them.
Playing fine music, ranging from Bach to jazz and everything in between. Hosted by Tom Brown, the Director of the Fine Arts at Trinity.
So I oversee everything that's fine arts related all the way through all the grades. So we have an arts program for our grammar school or elementary school. We have a music program for those same kids. And then as they get into junior high and high school, they have electives just like every other school. And we have an arts, visual arts program, music program, video program, theater program. We cover the range of arts.
For Cougar News, I'm Debbie Martinez.
Sci-fi lovers, fear not. Last month's 12-hour sci-fi movie marathon, It Came from the Media Department, has been rescheduled for Friday, November 15th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in Mentry 305. Bring a friend and indulge in 12 hours of aliens, robots, and spaceships. COC's highly anticipated Stunt Dog experience is coming to the Performing Arts Center this Saturday, November 9th. Tickets are on sale now for this exciting event that features all sorts of canine fun and feats, and it's the perfect event for children and adults alike. And that's all for entertainment. Back to you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Tyra. Art is the expression of self-creativity. A recent gala showcased an assortment of these imaginative pieces from local Santa Clarita artists. Reporter Ivan Illigan tells us more.
Santa Clarita Artists Association held their 30th annual Art Classic Gala at the Hyatt Regency in Valencia. Their mission is to promote artists in the Santa Clarita Valley by making visual art visible, and they showcase all kinds of pieces created by members of the association.
The reason for the gala is to showcase the wonderful original art that can be created by the members of this community. We usually have a different demonstration every month, and it's a well-known artist. It can be in different mediums. It can be someone who talks about marketing your artwork, photographing your artwork.
And so how valuable are the resources and support that the Artists Association can provide?
It's very valuable, and just to have other people that do the same, have the same desire or passion that you have is great. A lot of artists creating artwork is usually a very solitary, introverted kind of activity. I think it's great to have a community art association that we don't jury you in. It just gives you a chance to experience that passion and that love with other like-minded people. It's important.
For Cougar News, I'm Ivan Illigan.
The video company Blizzard chose to side with China over freedom of speech, and the consequences hit them hard. Reporter Josh Ehrenberg shines a light on the protest against censorship of an online e-sport athlete that took the company for a ride.
You can't control us! You can't control us!
A protest occurred during BlizzCon at the Anaheim Convention Center on Friday. The esport athlete known as Blitzchung made a comment in support of the Liberate Hong Kong movement, and the video game company Blizzard suspended him and had his $10,000 earnings revoked. A crowd gathered in front of the convention to protest the company.
Got a group here, they've been fantastic. They wanted to come out and express themselves. They are in support of democracy for Hong Kong and wanted to be out here and share their feelings about that.
Protesters even offered free shirts featuring Mei, a Chinese character from Blizzard's popular game Overwatch.
Overwatch is a game about an organization that defends and fights for those that are defenseless. And the irony of that is Blizzard is doing the exact same opposite by siding with a country that oppresses people. And to me, that's like, how can you make a game like this, let alone add on more at BlizzCon, and sit there and just side with China that does the exact opposite? It's ridiculous.
And we hope everybody listens to our message. We hope everybody stands up for our rights. We hope everybody stands up for gamers. So let's keep it going. Thanks, everybody.
Due to China's President Xi Jinping banning Winnie the Pooh for an online post mentioning how the two looked alike, many were dressed up as the character outside. The president of Blizzard apologized for the issue in the convention as well.
We moved too quickly in our decision-making, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you.
Even after returning Blitzchung's winnings while keeping him on a shortened suspension, protesters still believe their freedom is being taken away.
Everyone should be free, and it doesn't matter who or what you are, but you should have human rights.
For Cougar News, I'm Josh Ehrenberg.
Coming up next on Cougar News, we feature a marching band conductor that is preparing future generations.
Stay tuned.
This is Cougar News.
Marching band is something Calvin Flores loves, and he wants to pass the baton to the next generation. Reporter Connor McKinnon captures the magic.
For Kelvin Flores, it is a return home. Last time he was here, he was wearing red. Now he bleeds purple.
3, 4, 5, 4, 3.
Under the direction of Ryan Sweets from the city of Valencia, performing their show entitled Cosmic Illuminations, the Hard Rock Page is proud to present the Pride of the Vikings.
But we really like the show and how we're challenging our students visually and musically. We're always pushing them to the limit.
And by pushing their limits in this showcase, he hopes they learn the lessons he has taken from his years as a student in Santa Clarita.
I love music. You know, I am an alumni of Heart, and so I was just instilled with so much passion and love for music that I just want to
His passion shows. It shows on the field when the kids are performing. For Cougar News, I'm Connor McKinnon.
We're getting closer and closer to the end of the fall sports season.
Yeah, we should probably take it to Maya so she can tell us who came out on top.
Yeah. History was made last Friday on the football field. Golden Valley defeated Hart High School in a close game for the first time in program history. The final score was 29-28, and Saugus beat Canyon 40-28, collecting their first league win this season. But emotions were high and excitement filled the stadium as Valencia High School celebrated their 11th straight Foothill League title against West Ranch High School. The Vikings wasted no time adding to the scoreboard. Valencia's kicker Ty Morrison scored the game's first points on a 41-yard field goal and ended the first quarter with a touchdown by senior Mitchell Torres. The Wildcats tried to put together a drive but could not get past the Vikings' overpowering defense and fumbled a handoff that was intercepted by Valencia's Max Manmo. Vikings quarterback Ryan Morrison threw his second touchdown to Jaden Lawrence for the 19-yard score right before the half, which put Vikings in the lead 24-0. Things didn't turn around for West Ranch after too many careless mistakes and not being able to score once throughout the game. The reigning undefeated Foothill League champs beat West Ranch 45-0. With sudden cardiac arrest being the #1 killer in student athletes, Valencia High School invited Saving Hearts Foundation to give free heart screenings to Santa Clarita athletes. Saving Hearts Foundation visited Valencia High School to give free heart screenings.
We're providing free EKGs or electrocardiograms to students to see if they have any underlying heart conditions that could lead to sudden cardiac arrest.
Sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 killer of student athletes and the #2 killer of people under the age of 25.
Actually, about 5 years ago, we had a student athlete suffer a cardiac arrest in this gym, actually. Fortunately, we had an AED, and we had some students who used it and started CPR, and fortunately saved that student athlete's life. But because of that, I felt that it was a great foundation to bring in and a great cause to bring to our campus because of that incident.
Typically find that 1 in 100 has some sort of underlying heart condition that they previously didn't know about. Some of those are less serious and they just need to be followed, and some of them are more serious and could have actually led to cardiac arrest. And so those students, we've had some instances where they get screened and then that next week they're actually getting a procedure done to correct the issue.
If you would like to receive free heart screenings for your athletic program, please visit SavingHeartsFoundation.com. Adam Sandler once sang about the lonesome kicker, but one particular foot at College of the Canyons and former Saugus alum is getting plenty of national attention as he becomes a huge part of the Cougar success. Cantor Brown is a D1 ready prospect known for his explosive leg.
I started playing football my sophomore year of high school, and that was when my coach Rick Myler, he was my soccer coach like all the way up until high school, and then he saw me playing soccer one day during a high school game, and he was like, "Hey, we need a kicker, you want to come out and try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I tried it, and he just kind of sparked it, and it's just been going ever since.
Brown is ranked #6 in his class, but even with the high ranking, he does not let the pressure get to him, which can be one of his secrets to success.
I don't feel any pressure. It's just going out and kicking the ball through the uprights. It's not really, ranking doesn't matter. It's just how they see you, but it all matters how you perform in the game and all that.
The 5-star kicker uses every day as an opportunity to get better.
I like to pay attention to the little things. I think that matters the most. I think if you can do the little things right, then the big things just take care of themselves. I like pushing myself in the weight room and during conditioning and in practice because I like to progress and get better every day.
Brown owes much of his success to his very supportive mother.
My family just pushes me to be better every day. It's mainly my mom who's really driving me because she's the one that was always taking me to soccer tournaments and all that. So I just feel that it's right that I would, when she believes in me, for me to kind of pay her back in the work ethic that I put into football. I want to go on to play at a 4-year and then go on and hopefully play in the NFL, have a good career in the NFL.
For Cougar News, I'm Maya Lockett. It was a successful week for COC athletics. The women's golf team closed out the 2019 regular season by winning a second straight conference championship. The women's volleyball team swept Citrus 3-0, and the women's soccer team won their third straight game, beating Bakersfield 4-0. The football team came from behind and beat Ventura 48-38. It was the first win on the road in Ventura in 6 years. And I also want to congratulate COC football coach Ted Ayacinda on his 50th win at COC. On September 30th, Governor Gavin Newsom passed a bill, SB 206, also known as Fair Pay to Play Act, to financially help college athletes. Reporter Oscar Hernandez shares local reaction on the new measure.
In the beginning of October, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the Fair Pay to Play Act into law. The bill permits college athletes in the state to hire agents and be paid for endorsements.
Well, it's groundbreaking that Governor Newsom did that, first of all. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think it's overdue. I think the amount of money that the colleges are making off their student athletes is excessive, for sure, and that some of that money needs to go back into their hands. Now, I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it. Time will tell. I think it's a good first step.
For the first time, college athletes will now be able to sell their name, image, and likeness. They can even hire an agent, so players could be paid for commercials and autograph sessions. But schools will not be paying salaries to their athletes.
I think that, as like anybody else in America, your likeness, if you have something that somebody wants to sell, you should be able to sell it, whatever that is. And you should reap rewards from that. So it's a good first step. I hope we take baby steps. I've seen that the NCAA has aligned with Governor Newsom's, let's say they've aligned that something needs to happen. I'm not sure they're going to go along with what exactly is happening. So it's a complex issue, and it has been for years. But I think it's moving in the right direction.
For Cougar News, I'm Oscar Hernandez.
I'm so happy that college athletes are finally getting the compensation they deserve.
It's true, it's cool, that's a good thing. Personal fitness can be a big motivator behind participating in the annual Santa Clarita Marathon, but perhaps the strongest motivator is a desire to honor a loved one. Tyra Gamgami explores the forces behind why SCV residents take part in the race every year.
The annual Santa Clarita Marathon pays tribute to the stories of residents and visitors alike. The most interesting stories, however, are those that explore the motivators that drive our daily lives.
I'm actually running this with my nephew, Lennon, who just passed away a month ago, 20 years old from leukemia, and such a special kid. I just wanted to keep his memory alive, and he also keep his song alive.
But personal health and wellness are equally as important as the desire to honor a loved one. For some, the marathon acts as an outlet for life's more hectic moments.
It's a way out, as in stressor.
I'm a registered nurse. I work in a very busy emergency room. This is my way to release some of the stress from work.
The marathon also provides an opportunity for residents to stay in shape and enjoy the city's scenic splendor.
Santa Clarita tends to be a very healthy community. If you out there in the pasels, you see people walking, see people biking, so it's a way to get out and enjoy the community. We have a beautiful community.
That sun glare from
The marathon's storytelling purpose could not be fulfilled without the help of those who work behind the scenes, and it's because of their dedication that the event can bring so many people together.
Once again, it just brings everybody together. It brings people from the outside areas to see what we are all about. We have a beautiful city, so there's so much to offer here. People from the outside can come in and check us out and be part of our running events.
For Cougar News, I'm Tyra Gamgami.
Books and puppies. What's not to love? I visited the Castaic Animal Care Center to find out how the two of them come together at a special claws event.
How do you feel about me helping you? Me too. Cowboy, over here.
Cowboy, Pope, Pierre, and Mikey are just a few of the lucky pups that are being showered with attention today. Unfortunately, they're stuck behind metal cages. The Claws Bark for Books event gives kids the opportunity to learn about unconditional kindness.
The driving force is just teaching kids compassion and helping animals get adopted, because that socialization aspect really does aid in these animals finding their forever homes.
The kids are able to practice their reading skills.
Do not fear, I have installed.
And give these animals the love they so desperately need.
Research shows that reading to pets actually eases their anxiety and makes them feel more loved.
It's truly a marvel watching how the dogs react to the kids.
Sometimes you walk in and these dogs are barking and they seem a little unruly, but within moments, these kids are sitting with them, these dogs have their paws crossed, and they're listening to these kids read.
The main goal of the Claws Bark for Books event is to get these dogs out of the shelter and into their forever homes. The best part of the day? Watching two dogs take their walk of freedom out of the cages and into their new human's arms. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Sydney Sweet. That does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Sydney Sweet. Remember, you can catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Taylor Hilo. You can also send us news tips and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.